Hello. It's been a bit. Yeah. No, I honestly don't know how this is gonna go. My computer's fan is going nuts because I'm still trying to figure out what programs work best on this computer. Warudo kind of worked, kinda, sorta, but right now I'm just using vtuber maker. But kind of back. I'm thinking of also just making a little fun animated GIF PNG tuber model. So if I don't want to do this, I have the option, but hang on, let me just loop, get a little closer. Ah, we good? Yes? Is that too close? Am I too close? Am I too close to you? Yeah? No? No? Yeah. Hang on. Let's try something. Let's try something. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That better? Is that better? I think that's better. But well, I've been dealing with a lot of technical difficulties and trying to figure out what works with my computer. At the same time, I am very aware there's been a lot going on in the vtubing community. And while I am a very small member in that community, I am still a part of the community. And I am very inspired by the community. So I think it's time I make a video about it. I've made posts over on X and on Bluesky, but it's been some time. All of the docs are out. I have read most of them, seen other people talking about the ones I haven't read. And my initial response over on X, platform formerly known as Twitter, was very spot on in my thoughts that it felt like it was very much about jealousy and insecure, or it came from a place of jealousy and insecurity from Cinder. So if you're not all caught up on the Cinder related VTuber drama that's been going on, there are plenty of videos on it. All of the docs are available over on X. Everything it's not hard to find. Let's say that. But my thoughts, especially as a smaller creator in the community trying to grow, there are many creators I look up to, and I was introduced to Cinder through some of the creators I follow and am a fan of. And seeing how they interacted during some of their collabs, it does kind of hurt to see that they would be that two-faced towards other creators, and it's just it feels a little heartbreaking, a little disappointing, honestly. Like I wasn't the biggest fan of Cinder. That's the thing. I didn't really know her that much outside of the few collabs I'd seen from other creators I follow. But after reading the docs, my initial thought reading the docs was, okay, it seems to be a lot of Red doing. And when someone initially pointed out that Red, or Redacted, was not just her manager, but also her boyfriend, a lot of the responses kind of made sense to me initially, because it felt like a very overprotective boyfriend kind of response of, oh, my significant other is feeling insecure about this, I'm gonna do something on her behalf. But then I started seeing more of Cinder's responses, and it didn't really sit well. Like, it started off sort of feeling like, okay, maybe he's sort of manipulating her in a way, but then also, no, they are definitely on the same page. Just she's operating more on the insecurity, which I completely understand especially as a creator in general, because VTubing is not the only content creation I do, but I do understand it is very easy, especially if you're getting into something where there are a lot of very similar styles and models and characters and creators. Trying to find your own voice isn't easy. So I can understand sort of to some degree where she might be coming from with that insecurity. But at the same time, the more she started doubling down on things like how it's just business, which weirdly reminds me of something I used to hear at work all the time when I would start questioning things or having a hard day. I would just be told, well, it's just selling clothes. Meanwhile, I'd be dealing with like the Great Wall of Shipment, which should have been an OSHA violation, because I would imagine that wouldn't be good if all the boxes fell. But that's a completely different thing. But the more she started doubling down on things like just using that as a way to sort of like deflect it, while also saying things like, oh, well, if you make art and models for other creators, it makes your stuff less special. And as an artist myself, I mean, I made this background, I made the shirt, the eyes for this model. I I've made many things in the past. Like I, it really hurt to see that coming from someone, because you would think especially someone they really sort of got a starting point from, really was able to jump off of with their career as far as making VTuber art goes and models. You would think they'd want to see Nano succeed. But no. No, they wanted Nano to themselves. But artists aren't necessarily a secret sauce. Artists aren't meant to be kept to one person, and even if you do make some sort of exclusivity contract, you still, it's like, unless the artist says otherwise or gives a reason as to why they don't want to be known, you would still have to say who the artist is. So that it's just one of those things where I can't help but be a little irked, just the teensy bit irked by what Cinder had said. And then there's also just the talking behind everyone's backs about other creators, and especially towards Bao and Shy Lily. And don't even get me started on the assumption of, oh, they have many contacts, they can get other people to do these things, when the things that were being stopped were things that were nearly complete. And it's not always easy to just be like, hey, yeah, no, this thing's almost done. Can someone else finish this for me? If someone backs out. Because a lot of artists don't want that happening. A lot of artists don't want other people finishing their work. But it just, there was so much. Like, I get seeing it as a job. I do. I get seeing content creation and VTubing as a job. I get seeing it that way. But even seeing it as a job, the way she went about it, though, still very much rubbed me the wrong way. Because again, while I am a small VTuber, I am a small creator, I by no means have any real stake in the VTubing community other than, hi, I am here. I am a humble halfling. Hello, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just making content because I enjoy it. It's like, if it becomes a job, then yay! That'd be amazing. But it's not my goal. It's not my goal. I'm just doing this because it's fun. But while I am aware that it can be treated as a job, it's one thing to treat it as a job, and it's another to say you're treating it as a job, but mostly treating it as a competition. And not really realizing or acknowledging it that way. Because it really did feel more like that, even when it came to the talk in those documents about the collabs. It did feel more like she was seeing it as competition and not necessarily something she did for work. Because it's one thing to work with people you don't want to work with. It's like I've worked in retail. I've done that. I have worked with managers that I didn't get along with, and I had to put up with it and put on a happy face and be like, yeah, yeah, it's a wonderful day. Totally happy to be here. Hang on, quick sip of water. Stay hydrated. But it's another to work with someone you only see as competition, and it's not necessarily, oh, I have beef with this person. It's something that I could just bring up to them just behind the scenes privately, be like, hey, that I'm getting this vibe. I just want to make sure that this isn't what's actually happening. Like, it's one thing to sort of feel like the vibes are off, but then not address it, and it's another to fully treat it as a competition, to be like, nope, nope, I'm not going to actually befriend these people, despite the fact that I'm going to act like I'm their friend. And for some of them, they hung out with her. They hung out with her casually, and I feel so bad that they essentially lost someone they thought they knew. It's like, and even seeing all of the fans and over on over on X, I've been seeing so many amazing artworks people are sharing, and just the captions to go with them. So many being like, I'm unsure of how to feel about this, but I wanted to show it while I still could. Almost as if posting it was a bad thing because of what's happened. And these works of art are so beautiful and beautifully rendered and done, and I'm going to say this. It is okay to grieve and mourn someone you thought you knew. It's okay to feel uncertain and unsure, because I know how it feels to have these feelings about a creator or some bigger name that you thought you knew. You thought you sort of knew and you were a fan of and looked up to. And then suddenly it's like a whirlwind when the reality of what they're like behind the scenes comes to light, and you don't know what to do with everything you have that you've gotten to support them, everything you've made as a response to your initial appreciation and admiration for this person. So I want to say, from a place of experience, it is okay to feel unsure of where to go and what to do. It's okay to not know what to do with what you've gotten to support them in the past. It's okay to not know where to go from here. But don't let this experience, don't let the the actions of one person scare you from continuing to follow other creators or look into other creators or do collabs or even start vtubing. Because I've seen so many comments saying, oh, it's like, I was thinking of getting into vtubing, but with all of this going on, I don't know. And it's completely understandable to feel that way. But don't let the actions of one person, or two technically, but don't let the actions of someone like Cinder scare you out of trying something you want to do, or trying to do collabs with people you want to do collabs with, or make friends. Don't let this scare you out of just doing what you want to do. It doesn't have to be a competition. If there's one thing I've learned from my many years online, because this isn't my first rodeo. This is just my first rodeo as a VTuber. But communities can be very supportive. Yes, there will always be situations like the Cinder situation. But there will always be communities that will, or members of the community that will support you and be there for you. And it can be like a family. Don't let this scare you out of a community you put so much love and interest into. It's like don't let that scare you into thinking, oh, there are probably more in here like her. And I mean there probably might be like one or two somewhere. But she's not the whole community. She's not the whole of the vtubing community. She is just one of many vtubers. So I'm going to leave this video here. I don't know what I'm going to be doing with my channel from here. Still debating on whether to get back into streaming because I'm still working out technical difficulties. But as for the Cinder situation, I have said my words here and on X and Bluesky. And again, it does feel like it very much came from a place of insecurity and jealousy. And also just fear of a competition that wasn't actually happening. So, yeah. Yeah. Artists are not your secret sauce. It's okay to make friends and collab and pursue vtubing if it's something you've been wanting to do and this whole situation possibly scared you. Just know that all of your feelings are completely understandable and valid. And to all of the Cinder pups out there looking for a new home, you will find it. You will find it in many other communities. Now, I may be a small VTuber with no real fan base. Like I know I have no real stake in anything. But you are welcome here. There are many other VTubers that are very welcoming to the whole of their community, and it very much can be like a family. And I know how much it meant to you to follow her and to watch her content and her streams and support her. The best thing you can do right now is be there for each other. You will find other people to follow. But right now, be there for each other.